Let's begin. This is The Block. I am your host, Kyle Johnston. It's April 21st. This is for the late night addicts, the early morning coffee drinkers. It's where we talk some sports, break down the games, and do a little handicapping. Provide you with some pulp culture, the hot topics going around the world. And I bring you some much needed music to kick off your day, to end your evening, or to get you through a lazy afternoon. Hopefully a little Opeth wakes you up. What did we go? 6-2 yesterday? 6-2? It's not bad. We'll keep this momentum going. So what I like to see, a few more of those nights. I've been 2 steps forward and 2 steps back the last couple weeks handicapping these games. Hasn't been the best Aprils. March could come back around. March was a good month. April, nah. April, no. First couple rounds of March Madness, we killed it. But like usual, once it gets down to the Sweet 16, Elite 8, we start to falter a little bit. It was a long year of college basketball, though. Nonetheless, it was a success. As the San Jose Sharks had some late-night success over the Los Angeles Kings. We were riding the Kings. We were looking to cap off a pretty good night. Jonathan Quick played a pretty good game. There's something about the Los Angeles Kings, though. They're just fucking missing something. They look hesitant on the back end, trying to move the puck out of their own zone. They're relying on Drew Doughty an awful lot. Fuck, that guy's playing good hockey right now. That guy doesn't get the Norris Trophy. I don't know if he'll ever fucking get a Norris Trophy if he doesn't get it now. Guy's played unbelievable hockey. By far the best player to watch, maybe in these playoffs. The Western Conference has just been a slugfest. Talked a little bit about the East yesterday. I'll dabble in a little about the West just before I get into my picks. But that San Jose, Los Angeles Kings, I had the Kings to keep this Los Angeles Kings, Chicago Blackhawks rotation going. I do think they will get to the Stanley Cup Finals. The road's a lot more blurry now as it stands. San Jose Sharks are in a familiar position. A very familiar position, but it's a different team. It's a different team. It's got a different core of young players. Brent Burns is playing unbelievable. Joe Thornton is Joe Thornton. I wouldn't mind seeing Big Joe hoist that cup over his head, though. I've always been a Joe Thornton fan. I always got his back when I'm arguing between Joe Thornton and Matt Sundin with all these Toronto Maple Leaf fans. I know Grapes is pulling for his buddy Joe Thornton. So, in the end, I wouldn't mind seeing him hoist that Lord Stanley's mug over top of his head. Now, I know he's not the captain. He's going to have to wait his turn because of all the crap that's gone on in the last few years in San Jose. But, I think they're playing some pretty good hockey right now. It was a good game to watch last night. Kings aren't dead yet. But they look a little slow. Look a little hesitant. They're having troubles attacking the center of the ice. You know, they're getting a lot of puck possession, like the Blackhawks. They're getting a lot of puck possession and stuff. They're getting a lot of opportunities in the other team's zone. They're hanging on to that puck, but it's mostly on the outside. They aren't creating those dangerous opportunities in the middle of the house. In the other team's house, I guess you could say. You always protect the house, right? St. Louis, Chicago, speaking of the Blackhawks, what a series that's been. I've never seen Coach Hitchcock so happy. It's like, wow. You know, I remember him back in the day on Dallas, and he was a crusty. He was a crusty old guy. But I've never seen him happy. He's out there smiling. Certain situations. Doesn't seem to be getting rattled like he used to. St. Louis's depth, especially on defense, is starting to pull through here. They've been building for a few years. I'm not a Brian Elliott fan. I don't think Brian Elliott's going to win him the Stanley Cup. But he might save Hitch another couple years behind the bench. At least one more. Still think St. Louis is missing that elite goaltender. But their defense, what Petrolangelo, Bouwmeester, that Colton Parayko guy, or Parayko. I don't have his name in front of me right now. He's the rookie. He's playing unbelievable right now. Tarasenko, what can I say? Tarasenko is one of my favorite guys to watch. I do think St. Louis will wrap this up. I don't think I can't see them. Can't see them getting to the Stanley Cup final. But then again, we've seen other goaltenders that don't quite have the resume make a run to the Cup final. So we'll see what Brian Elliott has up his sleeve. A lot's going to rest on him. Corey Crawford doing his best Ron Hextall impression. Fucking loved it. I like to see the emotion. I love to see personality come out of players. Corey Crawford's one goaltender that doesn't hide his personality. Never been a big fan of him, but he's growing on me. Each year he's growing on me. He's got a great personality. Kind of like the guy. He's kind of a guy that I'd like to go sit in a bar probably and have a couple beers with and just shoot some stories. He's probably got some interesting tales. Jonathan Taves been quiet. Where's Pat Kane? I know Don Cherry was going off on that. Chicago's defense has been playing all right. All right. They haven't really been the weakest point of that team. Their depth up front is definitely getting tested against St. Louis's back end. Andrew Ladd's been invisible, one of their big pickups. So the Blackhawks, they got a lot on their table. I didn't think the Blackhawks would win it this year. Definitely thought they'd get out of the first round, though. They seem to always have St. Louis's number, but I guess this might be one of those oddball years. Anaheim, Nashville. I'm not comfortable with this series. Not comfortable. Took Anaheim in my brackets just because I thought this might be the year they get out of the first round. Maybe look half decent heading into the second round. I don't think Bruce Boudreau will ever win a Stanley Cup. I think Bruce Boudreau is one of the weak links on the Anaheim Ducks. I think with a better coach, maybe with more strategy, more X's and O's kind of guy, I think will help get Anaheim over the hump. Especially with their young defense and stuff like that. You can't keep leaving them exposed. They got some of the best centermen in the league. There should be no problem in the defensive system and breaking out of their own zone. But Cam Fowler, Lindholm, they always seem to, they want to press. They want to press. So I wouldn't be shocked if Nashville pulls this off. I wasn't shocked if Nashville could pull this off to begin with. They have the better goaltender in Pekka Rinne. They have a hell of a defense led by Roman Josi and Shea Weber. Fuck, Shea Weber can shoot the puck, man. Holy shit. Young squad up front with Johansson, Forsberg, James Neal's playing some of the best hockey of his life. I'm not a big James Neal fan. Got a lot of history with him back in minor hockey. But I give the kid credit. So I haven't been wagering too much on that. I think I took the Ducks first game. They lost. And I said, screw this. Screw this. Might have took an under in one of those games too that didn't cash, or might have pushed. But anyways, so what's left? I went through San Jose Kings. Dallas in the Wild. Dallas in the Wild. I didn't get to watch the Dallas in the Wild last night, to be honest with you. Can't watch everything now, can we? It was what, 2-2? 2-2 last I heard. Jeez, I'm not on the right site to be looking at hockey right now. To be perfectly honest with you. I'm just trying to get the playoffs and stuff like that, right? There we go. So Dallas came away with a victory last night. I don't know what the score was, but Dallas is just too much for Minnesota. Now, I'm on a non-hockey website looking at hockey right now, and one of the headlines is Wild Breakaway. Dallas 3, Minnesota 2. Now, I don't want to click on this video because it's probably going to be a bunch of bullcrap. But Wild Breakaway, Dallas 3, Minnesota 2. I think you're a little incorrect. Maybe it's Dallas Breakaway. Dallas 3, Minnesota 2. So anyways, yeah, Dallas I think's pretty much got that wrapped up in the bag. Dallas is one of those interesting teams. They might have one of those goaltenders in Kerry Lightning and maybe what's his name there? San Jose Sharks goaltender. The Chicago Blackhawks goaltender, Niemi. They got Niemi sitting there in the backup role too as well. So they got two goaltenders they can rely on. Not your household names, but they could definitely make a run to the cup with one of those guys behind them. Solid puck-moving defense Dallas has. I think that's one of the key to the games. Get that puck up front to their transition game. Get that puck up front to their forwards. Their forwards are deadly. 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 But if a team can clog up the middle, team can slow down that transition game, they're going to have some success against Dallas. Well-coached squad. Well-coached squad. So anyways, before I get into some more news, it's just a little brief overview of the NHL. Let's jump into some picks. We'll stay with the NHL right now. I was going to hit to the diamond first, but since I just talked about hockey for the last 5 or 6 minutes, we'll stay on the ice, the frozen pond. Got a few games that I like that stick out. A couple totals. Got a side. So the Detroit Red Wings, they're in a dire situation right now. They're down 3-1 to Tampa Bay. They're on the road in Tampa Bay. As it stands right now, the Lightning are minus 155 home favorites. Total in this game is 5 pucks. I like the under. It's an elimination game. The Red Wings are going to shut it down. Mrazek should be back in the net. They've been playing much better with him in the pipes. So I like the under 5. I wouldn't be shocked either if Tampa Bay gets this done in a 2-1 kind of victory. It's going to be a close game. Detroit's, these are hockey players. These are hockey players. When their back's against the wall, they fucking respond. They usually do. And they may not win, but they're going to respond. They're going to show up. Staying in the Eastern Conference, we got the Pittsburgh Penguins in Broadway. Take on the New York Rangers. Mangold, the center from the New York Jets, making a lot of headlines. Him and Rick Tocchet going at it. Mangold's a big Rangers fan. Not hard to miss the guy. He's probably 300 pounds, big long blonde hair, and a big blonde beard. But anyways, Penguins, as it stands, are minus 125 road favorites. Total in this game is 5 pucks. I've been betting the Pittsburgh Penguins. I got them to go through in my bracket. I'm going to continue that trend. I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Penguins and Sidney Crosby. I think he has a big game tonight. I think Crosby shows up. At minus 125. A little bit of late night action. We're talking about the Chicago Blackhawks and the St. Louis Blues. Coach Hitchcock's got the Blues playing pretty good hockey right now. As it stands, the Blues are minus 130 on the money line. Total in this game is 5 pucks. These are the defending champions, Chicago Blackhawks. They ain't going to lay down for nobody. But I'm going to take the under in this game. Under 5. Already clicked away. I do have a lean, though, towards the Blackhawks at plus 110. I do think this series has got a little bit more life in it. I think we'll see one series come to an end tonight. But I don't think the Blackhawks and Blues are done just yet. I have a heavy lean to the Blackhawks. but I have clicked on the under 5 pucks. Now we can move our attention towards the diamond. We had a pretty good day yesterday. Don't like to talk about the past too much. Nationals cashed though. Orioles cashed though. Rangers cashed. Who else was I on yesterday? Another team cashed yesterday. St. Louis Cardinals cashed yesterday. So anyways, we got a couple early games. Already a few games off the board. But the Washington Nationals, they are on the road, finishing off a series with the Miami Marlins. Scherzer's on the mound for the Nationals. Kohler's on the mound for the Marlins. As it stands, the Nationals are minus 200 favorites. I saw him earlier at about, minus 185. I clicked on him at minus 190. It's keep climbing. It's climbing. The money line. Total in this game is 7 runs. I'm going to parlay up the Washington Nationals at minus 190 that I have. Sitting at minus 200 right now. With a game that's already in play. First pitch was 12:15. It's the Los Angeles Dodgers in Atlanta to take on the Braves. Kershaw's on the mound for the Dodgers. Weisler's on the mound for the Braves. Weisler's pretty crappy. Awful pitcher. As it stands, the Dodgers are minus 290 on the money line. So a little Washington Nationals, LA Dodgers parlay to start off the ball. Wagers. At 140. First pitch between the Brewers and the Twins. It's basically a pick'em as it stands right now. We're seeing some movement on the total. Earlier it was 8.5. We're seeing some movement up to 9 right now. Youngman's had a pretty crappy start to his season. He's got an ERA of around 9. That's not going to last. He had an ERA of, mid-3s last year. He's not quite the most overpowering pitcher. But for a light-hitting Minnesota Twins team, I think he's going to do just fine. I think he'll rebound, get his season on track. He was a guy I was keeping my eye on. He was one of my sleepers in fantasy. I wanted to see how he could do. And obviously he hasn't started off well. Nolasco takes the mound for the Twins. He's had an alright start. He's played a lot of games against the Brewers. They should be quite familiar with him. But I like the under. I like the under in this game. You can get it under 9 right now at minus 115. I actually got it at under 8.5, which kind of sucks. We've seen some movement towards the over. So you're getting a little bit of value, in my opinion, right now at under 9 with the Brewers and the Twins. All right. And then my last game on the diamond tonight. Taking the mound for the New York Yankees is Luis Severino. He's taking on Rich Hill of the Oakland Athletics. I'm an Oakland Athletics fan. It's nice to see him on the East Coast. I think they're in Toronto, 22nd to 25th? Somewhere around April 24th. 24th, 27th, 21st to 24th, something like that. They're in Toronto in the next week, coming up for a 3-game series. I'm going to go down to a couple games. I usually catch 1 or 2 Oakland-Toronto games every year. Rich Hill, he's been striking a lot of guys out. And he's got a little bit of a future. I don't think he's a number 1, number 2, or number 3, man, but he can sure round out my rotation in 4 or 5. Southpaw. And he can throw the ball. He can throw the ball. He's just got to work on his command. A little bit too many walks. Sorry about that. My recorder just quit on me there. Things happen every day. Now it's all out of focus here and a little fuzzy. But anyways, let's talk about the New York Yankees. Luis Severino. I like the Yankees at minus 130. I think Severino will take home his first victory of this season. And get the Yankees' bats on track. The Yankees' bats have been quiet. I was on a little bit of a roll there. I hate when I get interrupted. So So anyways, we're going to move on to the association. A little bit of basketball tonight. Toronto Raptors. Hometown Toronto Raptors. They're in Indiana to take on the Pacers. Don't really have a play on this. I'm going to do a little bit more research. As it stands, it's almost a pick 'em. Raptors are minus 1.5 right now on the point spread. Road favorites. Total in this game is 193. Raptors are also minus 120 on the money line. I do have a feeling that the Pacers are going to come to play. If the Pacers are going to come to play, this is the game. First game at home. Indiana. State of basketball, some may argue. But I don't really have quite of a lean on it. Maybe I can talk myself into it. But in some late night action, we have the Golden State Warriors. They're on the road to take on the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets. I hate the Houston Rockets. Anyways, as it stands, the Warriors are minus 5.5 point favorites on the road. Total in this game is 215. We're starting to see some action on the over. And speaking of the over, I like the over in this game. I'll look for the Rockets to kind of push the pace. If the Rockets are going to come to play and try to win a game, as with the Indiana Pacers, I think this is the game. Do I think they will win? No. But I like the over. I grabbed the over at 214.5. It's up to 215 now. We're starting to see some movement on it. So if you like the over, jump on that now. And like I said, I have a big lean towards the Indiana Pacers tonight. Big lean towards the Indiana Pacers. Just as I had a big lean towards the Chicago Blackhawks. Now just before I wrap this up, I'll quickly fly through those picks again. In the frozen pond, I like the Pittsburgh Penguins at minus 125. I like the under in the Detroit Red Wings Tampa Bay Lightning game. I like the under in the Blackhawks St. Louis Blues game. On the Ball Diamond, I have a parlay going on right now with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Clayton Kershaw on the mound. Got them parlayed up with the Washington Nationals with Scherzer on the mound. I like the under 9. I got it at 8.5, but it's at 9 right now in the Milwaukee Brewer Minnesota Twin game. And I like the New York Yankees at minus 130 to defeat my Oakland Athletics. And then the association, I like the over 214.5 in the Golden State Warriors Houston Rockets game. Now Conor McGregor has been making a lot of news these days. Sent out that tweet about him retiring young. Thanks for the cheese, y'all. I wouldn't mind some cheese. I'm a student, working part-time sometimes, working on internships. Don't quite have the payroll like I used to have, and I love cheese. The fuck is cheese expensive? It's one of the first things I take when I go to my parents' house, man. I take a block of cheese. It's pretty sad. But man, it's either cheese or protein. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, he responded to Dana White, taking him out of UFC 200 and making the Jose Aldo Frankie Edgar match a championship fight for the featherweight belt. But he's responded and clearly stated, I am not retired. Now, I could go through and read this huge Facebook page, but basically he's tired of fucking promoting. He says he gets paid to fight. He doesn't get paid to promote. I am paid, quote, Conor McGregor, I am paid to fight. I am not yet paid to promote. I have become lost in the game of promotion and forgot about the art of fighting. You know, I kind of agree with a lot of the shit that he says on here. Definitely does paint a different picture of this situation. And maybe it really never was about the fight money, but it's more about the promotion money and him spending his time away from training. There comes a time when you need to stop handing out flyers and get back to the damn shop, McGregor said. 50 world tours, 200 press conferences, 1 million interviews, 2 million photo shoots, and at the end of it all, I'm left looking down the barrel of a lens, staring defeat in the face, thinking of nothing but my incorrect fight preparation. He goes on to talk about sitting in a car on the way to some dump in Connecticut or somewhere to speak to Tim and Susie on the Nobody Gives a Fuck morning show did not get me this life. He said he needs to focus. He needs to isolate himself. He's flown his entire team to Portugal and Iceland for this training. He's basically said that he saved the UFC $10 million in promotion. Quote Conor McGregor, there had been $10 million allocated for the promotion of this event, is what they told me. So as a gesture of goodwill, I went and not only saved that $10 million in promotion money, I went and tripled it for them. All with one tweet. He's fucking right. He's created so much buzz around UFC 200 and his next fight with one tweet. One tweet. He went on to talk about Nate Diaz a little bit. He did rip Nate Diaz a little bit. He can't go a whole post without ripping Nate Diaz in his next opponent. He's like, quote, Nate's little mush head looks good up on that stage these days. Stuff him in front of the camera. Now, he says, I feel the $400 million I have generated for the company in my last 3 events, all inside 8 months, is good enough to get me this slight leeway. And then at the end, he said, for the record, for USADA and for the UFC and my contract stipulations, I am not retired. Very interesting. He fired back. I thought he handled it well. I think he's speaking the truth. I think he's fucking tired of that shit. I think he's really good at promoting fights. I think he enjoys showing people his personality, but I don't think he enjoys going out and doing it. You know, I don't think he enjoys putting on that show. I don't think he walks around all the time acting like that. Obviously not. Now, Chael Sonnen's also been in the news. He's saying that he's gambling with the wrong guys. But I don't know, man. UFC 200 is pretty light right now, and they're going to need him if GSP doesn't step up to the game. Or if Robbie Lawler doesn't step up. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be a tug of war. It's a battle. It's definitely McGregor v. UFC. UFC will win, though. The UFC will win. Too much power. Too much power in the UFC. Too much casino money. They will win after all of this. Haven't heard from you in a while, Chael Sonnen. Where you been? But we got a little bit of Premier League action going on too. The kickoff this afternoon. Arsenal's hosting West Brom. I need the Baggies. I need Tony Pulis' boys to step up and steal a point off Arsenal. A nice draw. A nice 1-1 draw would be beautiful. Haven't laid any wagers on this game. I want to play the under. I might buy a run. I might buy a goal. Move it up to 3.5. Scared money never wins. Scared money never wins. But as a United supporter, yeah. I wouldn't mind a nice performance from the Baggies. Since the Dallas Stars are kicking a lot of ass in the NHL playoffs, and I know they went and partied at Pantera Mansion in that back in '99. I heard some good stories about that party. Remember Mike Modano was on a sports network here in Canada talking to Landsberg about it. Pretty interesting. They were late. They were having so much fun down there. Pantera's Ranch there and shit like that, man. They were late for the actual Stanley Cup parade. But remember, you can find my work on Twitter at KJ you can find my work on Twitter at KJ_theblock. Find my work on my blog site, KyleJohnstontheblock.wordpress.com. And remember, if you're not laying down the money on the table, you're not winning.